Marge Simpson has been the anchor of the Simpsons family for 29 seasons and counting. While she's always there to support or nag her husband and children, there have been some dark theories about her that popped up over the years. Now, we will dive deep into the world of Marge Simpson and uncover some of the craziest secrets and theories surrounding the character. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new Screen Rant content.
Nuzzle? Neck? With pleasure.
Let me try. Lick eyes.
Marge has no friends. In Springfield, Marge always seems to be there when it comes to public events, bake sales, and other functions. Whether she's supporting her family, doing her own thing, or assisting other citizens, she seems to always lend a helping hand. Until you realize, no matter how much Marge is out and about in the Springfield community, she truly has no friends. In a theory started by BoJack Horseman creator Raphael Bob Waxberg, Marge's life and appearances on The Simpsons episodes conclude the matriarch of The Simpsons has no real friends. Sure, she has her sisters, Patty and Selma, but they tormented her as a youth and spent their time criticizing her as an adult. One of Marge's only true friends may have been Maude Flanders, her welcoming neighbor, who passed due to shots from a t-shirt cannon. After the death of Maude, Marge is left with no one close. Her family often ignores her, and she doesn't even have a baby group to bring Maggie to. Many of the citizens in Springfield may need her, but no one is actually friends with her. Homer has Lenny, Carl, Barney, and countless others, while Marge sits alone at home, waiting for the simple company of a friend.
Marge, I split my pants again. Ooh, could I have 2 sandwiches today? Make the bologna sandwiches.
Homer's blackmail. Homer and Marge have periodically shown their love for each other over the years, but their relationship and marriage is not something many couples should achieve to be. Marge has been ignored and scorned by Homer dozens of times, yet she continues to stick by his side. But why? Blackmail. Homer controls the finances in the house and is the one who has the ability to fund Marge's stay-at-home lifestyle. Marge has tried a few careers over the years, but she continuously ends up back at home in the same role she had. She can't leave Homer or her whole world would be flipped upside down. Aside from Homer's neglect, at one point he got into a drunk driving accident and blamed her for it as she was charged with a DUI. Marge was mad for a little bit, but she realized Homer works full-time and owns the Denver Broncos, giving her family the endless amount of wealth. The money and lifestyle Marge lives with is nothing she wants to give up. Whether it's intentional or not, Homer has a financial grip on the whole family and can take it all away in an instant. At least they have some happy moments through all the chaos, right?
Kids, won't you step outside for a second?
Marge shot Mr. Burns. One of the greatest Simpsons mysteries of all time was the 2-part episode entitled Who Shot Mr. Burns? For all summer, fans speculated on who shot the arrogant rich man and left him for dead. After multiple specials, contests, and news reports, the answer was revealed in part 2 of the episode. Mr. Burns recounted his story and admitted it was Maggie Simpson who shot him. But was Mr. Burns telling the truth? Multiple theories have spread online with evidence pointing to Marge as the real shooter of Mr. Burns. Why would Mr. Burns claim it was Maggie? Everything points back to a previous episode entitled Marge Gets the Job. Mr. Burns develops a crush on Marge, but when she stays committed to Homer, Mr. Burns only wishes for her happiness no matter what it takes. After seeing everyone around her succumb to Mr. Burns' evil plans, Marge seduces Mr. Burns towards her car and shoots him. The shot is a huge wake-up call to Mr. Burns, and he once again decides to protect Marge and make her happy. Knowing a baby wouldn't get arrested, Mr. Burns blames the shooting on Maggie, and the flashbacks we see are only from his false perspective. After all these years, it was Marge who actually shot Mr. Burns. Marge's superficial anxiety. On the surface, Marge seems like a simple mom, wanting to take care of her kids and be the leader of the house. Dig a little deeper, and you can see how desperate Marge is to fit in with everyone around her. The desperate need to fit in ends up creating a social anxiety and forces her to be superficial about many things. In the end, Marge wants to be viewed as normal, but the things she does to do this pushes her over the edge and makes her seem extremely superficial. Besides the pearl necklace she constantly wears and must own shown multiple versions of, Marge also revealed she wears glasses. The revelation is followed up with the fact that Marge is so worried about how she looks, she doesn't ever wear glasses in public. One of the most extreme examples comes with Marge's dominant hand. Marge was a natural left-hander, but refused to write left-handed because she didn't want to be considered weird. After learning to write with her right hand, she is now ambidextrous. Her anxiety to conform and fit in has created situations where she really stands out. Her problems with things like handwriting and wearing glasses also seem a little strange considering the giant head of blue hair that sits on her skull. Marge the Tease. For years, Marge Simpson has always been dedicated to Homer, showcasing their love for each other and support as a family over the years. On the side, we've learned that Marge is actually a huge tease, and a theory has developed over her need to constantly emotionally cheat on Homer to help her with her own self-esteem. Many times through the years, characters have fallen in love with Marge. While Marge acts innocent and coy about it, she's often the one leading these men on. Along with characters like Mr. Burns and Moe, guest characters like Charles Heathbar have also fallen smitten for Marge. The men are often shocked to find out she's married, and a lack of a wedding ring doesn't ever help the situation. Marge even enticed the whole town of Springfield with multiple seductive magazine spreads. Marge Simpson not only appeared on the cover of Maxim magazine, but she also graced the pages of Playboy, revealing some semi-nude female body parts. Marge loves to act as the innocent one, but she has some dark and secret motives as she looks for emotional connections through the men of Springfield. In the episode Future Drama, Marge even reveals she left Homer and is dating Krusty the Clown. Someone needs to tip Homer off before it's too late.
Oh great, Dad's dead.
Dealing with Bart's death. Through the years, Marge has dealt with some terrible tragedies. Maud Flanders died, her great-aunt Gladys died, she is constantly dealing with crazy Springfield events, and her children are often in trouble. According to a theory spread online, one of the toughest things Marge has ever had to deal with was the death of Bart. According to rumors, there was an episode from the first season of The Simpsons entitled Dead Bart. In the episode, Marge watches her son get sucked from an airplane window and actually falls to his death. A video published on YouTube, and likely a fake, showcases scenes where Marge must stand over her son's dead body at an open casket funeral. In what would be one of the most depressing animated moments on television, we see Marge openly weep for her lost son. Even though they are just cartoons, we cannot imagine any of the main characters getting killed off. Seeing the reaction of Marge only makes things worse. Thankfully, the theory about the Dead Bart episode does not have a lot of supporting evidence and remains a creepypasta. Hopefully it stays this way, and the only main character deaths we see are the part of the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Oh, Marge, I just had a couple of beers. Yeah.
Marge's hair loss. In season 8, the constant stress Marge goes through leads to a sudden hair loss from her infamous blue beehive. While the episode merely blames the hair loss on stress, one Reddit user has theorized the hair loss to be much more defined than the show actually explained. The condition Marge may have is known as alopecia areata. This type of hair loss occurs extremely fast in patients, just like how Marge woke up one day missing huge chunks of her hair. When the family hires a nanny, Marge's hair loss reverses, much like how this form of alopecia works in patients. Her stress is reduced and the hair grows back quickly. During the season 8 episode, Marge's hair loss comes and goes as the stress increases and goes away. The diagnosis could have easily been made official with one line from Dr. Hibbert, but the theory seems pretty spot on. With everything that happens to The Simpsons, we just wonder how many other times Marge has dealt with the sudden hair loss and kept it hidden. Thankfully, for some patients who suffer from alopecia areata, the hair loss may occur once, reverse, and never happen again, depending on stress levels.
Marge, admit it. You just can't say no to anyone. That's why you have 3 kids.
An abusive childhood. With a fugitive for a mother and a neglectful father, it seems like Homer Simpson has had the worst childhood, but Marge's is right up there with him. We've seen hints over the years, but a theory has developed stating that Marge Simpson had an emotionally and physically abusive childhood. A lot of this abuse came from her sisters, Patty and Selma. As children, Patty and Selma tormented Marge. They made her do their chores so they they could smoke, would constantly make decisions for Marge, and gave her a lot of social anxiety as an adult. In the episode Kill Gill Volume 1 and 2, we see a flashback where a 7-year-old Marge stood up to her sisters, said no, and was stuffed into a dollhouse for her troubles. These actions clearly traumatized Marge because even as an adult, she has trouble saying no to anyone. Patty and Selma's emotional abuse of Marge continued as she grew older, including their disapproval of Homer and so many other choices she's made in her life. Sadly, Marge just accepts this as it is and has done nothing to confront the trauma brought on by her own family.
She's got needles.
Marge the Shoplifter. Marge has been arrested multiple times through the 29 seasons, including the episode Marge in Chains. In the episode, an overtired Marge accidentally steals something from the Quickie Mart and finds herself arrested. While the charges are dropped and Marge gets released, there is a theory that Marge's shoplifting did not stop with the accidental theft. Through the years, Marge has grown addicted to shoplifting and takes items at any chance she can get. How does she get away with it? Well, the clever guise of her large blue hair. We've seen Marge store all types of items in her hair, including umbrellas, money, and gifts. While going from store to store, the hair makes it easy to sneak a few items out and is often tall enough to bypass any security monitors sitting at the front of the store. One of the biggest examples of Marge's shoplifting scheme can be found in the classic opening title sequence for the show. While Marge shops in the grocery store, little Maggie finds herself getting swiped across the scanner. You don't think this was done intentionally so Marge could sneak a few candy bars into the depths of her blue hair? Marge has a major problem, and what initially started out as an accident has quietly transformed into a major issue.
But you have to catch me first! Ow! Oh, my ankle's down!
Animal hybrids. All of the nuclear waste in Springfield has clearly taken its toll. We've seen Blinky the three-eyed fish, but how has the nuclear waste impacted the humans of the city? Well, you just need to look at Marge Simpson for some answers. She's hidden some pretty strange traits over the years, and these traits represent signs of nuclear mutation, or some type of crazy DNA experiment. A theory has grown over the years that underneath all that blue hair is a set of rabbit ears. Matt Groening actually admitted to this once, and the ears were almost revealed during the season 1 finale. For the best official glance at the rabbit ears, play the Simpsons official arcade game. In the game, you can see the ear shape when Marge gets electrocuted. There is also a clear view of the ears when Marge's vacuum sucks up her own hair in the game. Another sign pointing to Marge's deformities come from the episode Marge in Chains. A quick line of dialogue from Dr. Hibbert reveals Marge also has webbed feet. There's clearly something in Marge's DNA that has caused these strange mutations, but thankfully, she hasn't passed them on to her children. Wow, what theory is the most convincing? And what's your favorite story involving Marge? Should the show focus on any of these theories further? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. Thanks for watching.